So, I spent the week in San Diego with my family, and we sit on the beach, but it's a long way back to the house. You have to cross the sand. The sand is hot. My son figured out pretty quickly that it's a long way to go back. So imagine at one point, there's like 20 of us sitting outside. Everybody's just sitting in the sun. The kids are playing in the sand. They'll dig in the sand for hours. And I look over and I'm like, what the hell is Max doing? Because he's got that smile.
Sure.
Like there's always that smile. And, it's super bright and sunny. So the kids are wearing long sleeve swim shirts and they're wearing their shorts. And he's standing in like ankle deep water facing us, probably 60 feet away. And he's like smirking. And I'm like, and my eyes are terrible. I'm like, what the hell? And then I see a stream coming out of his shorts. And I'm like, that little shit is standing in ankle deep water just peeing.
Sure.
Just peeing on there. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, I can't get to him in time. And I was just like, all right, it's just fine. It's the ocean.
Quiet, please.
It's fine.
I know.
No one cares.
Yeah. But then I do it and people start
And
calling
4,
the police and shit.
As
3,
they should.
2.
Company presents a truly terrible podcast. Welcome to Nonsense episode number 29. I'm Jeff Parker.
And I'm CJ Little.
This is our take on the week's business, tech, and entertainment headlines. This time, we'll look at detonating a hydrogen bomb. Then we'll talk about what's new in the world of electric cars.
Can you explain how those two things go together exactly?
I cannot.
So do you put the bomb behind the car?
Clearly, we spin the wheel of topics, and we might want to have a pre-production meeting because one of these days, one of us is going to do
They should align.
putting a hydrogen bomb in your electric car, and
Totally.
we're going to be stuck because it's going to be the same segment.
I feel like, at least we're not talking about AI this week. We should get a big wheel, like you said, the wheel of topics. Every other one should be AI, and then we'll just put other shit in between it and spin
Well,
it.
there's so much stuff that happens in AI every week. We totally could
That is true.
do an update. I mean, this week it would be who's suing AI companies because that's really the news of the week.
Could we also just, on the topics wheel, could we just put in demise of Twitter on every other square and just see what's happening?
There'd be something new to talk about. Eventually, there won't be. Eventually,
it's
ground
gone.
down to nothing. It's International Chess Day. Speaking of AI,
International Chess Day?
the day was an idea hatched by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, to celebrate people who play the game chess.
I love the game chess. I didn't know they had a day. Is there a checkers day?
September 23rd, but that's a totally different thing.
Well, that would be more for us.
It celebrates Richard Nixon's dog.
Or maybe International Hangman Day.
Did you play
probably
chess
different.
as a kid?
I'm poorly.
I loved, my father taught me how to play
Yeah.
chess, and I absolutely loved playing chess.
I liked playing it until I realized that there's this whole like rote memorization you've got to get through in order
Yes.
to be really good, and then I just was not interested.
My son
Yeah.
was obsessed with chess. I mean, like championship trophies
Sure.
and the whole thing. And I was like, it's 64 squares. At a certain point, you need to not be obsessed with chess.
Sure.
The world is bigger than
Sure.
64 squares and more complex. But he just loved it. I loved it too when I was a kid, so I get it. It's also National Moon Day.
Like drop my pants moon?
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, and
One huge ass on that guy.
and pull up your pants. National Moon Day celebrates not only the historic lunar landing on July 20th, 1969, the day also reminds us of the uphill slog to get the space program literally off the ground. On National Moon Day, we remember both the quirky and profound moments in the space race that ended up with the Americans being the first to plant their flag on the moon.
That was kind of not certain either then.
Once you get the flag up, are you going to build the library behind it? Is that how that works?
Well, first of all, they just put the flag in a studio in Hollywood, right? I mean, that's all that was. I think that helped, pardon the pun, plant the flag of us being a superpower. Like, oh, yeah,
I
you got
think there were
first.
other things that made us a superpower,
Sure.
like
Hydrogen bombs.
economics
Oh.
and hydrogen bombs as well. I mean, really more economics even than hydrogen bombs.
That was like 54 years ago.
Yeah.
It really wasn't that long ago if you think about it.
Oh, dude. I
Right?
watched it as a
you
child.
really?
I watched it on a black and white
Yeah.
TV. We had a black and white TV, and we watched it obsessively.
That's amazing. I mean, it's kind of crazy to realize, maybe more crazy for me than for you, but like even in the mid 80s, sort of the height of the shuttle program.
Yeah.
It had only been 15 years since you'd put somebody
On
really
the
in
moon.
space
Oh, yeah,
and on the moon.
And literally just because a president declared it. He
Yeah, we're gonna do it.
threw down a challenge. And
Yeah.
a ton of money was wasted. If you went to Aerojet in the late 60s, early 70s, all of the bathroom stalls had cigar lighters. I mean, because they were just pouring
that's
a
great.
fire hose of money at them.
That's great.
But it got the job done. They got it. They got us up there.
Totally.
How is your week going?
It was good. We spent a week on holiday down in the great city of San Diego.
Very British of you.
At the beach. Yes, the holiday. My kids peed in the ocean a lot, which was
okay.
good. I'm also amazed that you can give children shovels and sand and you won't see them for 5 hours.
Oh, yeah, that's the end.
They will just dig and dig and dig and dig and dig.
What are they digging for?
I showed them where you can dig for the sand crabs, and that amused them.
Uh-huh.
But then they just keep digging. And then we had a sandcastle making competition, which my job on my team was to keep my children from destroying what the other kids built, which is not easy
Yeah.
because you have to be like a rodeo clown. But my youngest son, I told him to go get seaweed. We're going to use seaweed to decorate the
sandcastle.
Sandcastle.
Yeah.
That kid spent 40 minutes just collecting seaweed up
Well,
and
you got
down
to
the
get the
beach.
right seaweed.
No, he did. No, he did. Like the long stringy kind. The kid loved it. I'm like, oh man, his OCD is strong with seaweed. And then the big one wanted to smash stuff, but I didn't let him smash stuff until the end.
Let's get to our headlines. We are having a heat wave all across the country. Have you been paying attention to this?
I didn't notice that it's 120 outside.
Oh, it's incredibly hot. From the Pacific Northwest to the tip of Florida, we are having record heat.
Except that in the Northeast, right? The Northeast,
they had heavy storms and excessive rain. They literally had to cancel 1,300 flights over the weekend.
That's a lot of flights. Yeah, but it's hot as hell everywhere else.
They're currently having a record consecutive streak of 110-degree days. 110-degree days in Phoenix.
In Phoenix. The fact that they already have a record of 110 successive days in Phoenix. I have a lot of family in Phoenix, including my father-in-law. This is always the joke he makes. I'll be like, "Hey, how's it going in Phoenix?" He's like, "Oh, it's just cold. We're in a cold spell." I'll be like, "Really?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, I didn't get past 105."
No, right.
I'm like, "Jeez, he's a smart ass." Every single time he gets me on the same joke. It's not just that it's 115 in Phoenix. It's that it's like 96 at night.
Oh, it's miserable.
It's miserable.
It never cools down.
Oh my God. You go and you can just feel the heat radiating off the pavement and you go outside.
And your in-laws are not the ones who worry me. It's the homeless people who are out living and they literally never have a chance to cool down.
No, you don't get to cool down. I know.
Their bodies never get to cool down. We talk about having record heat and Australians just laugh at us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they've had just
record
insane
heat and giant fucking spiders.
Just insane, crazy heat. Anyway, the interesting thing to me about this was Howard Diamond's quote. An average summer today, for example, might have been considered a hot summer several decades ago. Likewise, a hot summer in the future may very well be considered an average one a few decades from now. Howard is the climate science program manager at the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration's Air Resources Laboratory.
Yeah.
So SAG-AFTRA has gone on strike. If you watched Fran Drescher's speech, I thought she was absolutely amazing.
I did not see it.
She was great. The Screen Actors Guild is particularly concerned about the use of AI to create digital likenesses of actors without ongoing consent or appropriate compensation.
Sure.
That is to say, once you're in a movie, we can use your image forevermore to be in movies and things.
Not to be wet blanket on this, isn't the alternative to just use artificial everything?
Right. There's no reason to have a person even be a model.
I mean,
so you're getting one more payment than you would get otherwise. I mean, that's true.
I'm not trying to get rid of actors, but I'm saying
of course.
But like in some cases, like you have like seat fillers.
I think it's true for background characters. If you watch, there's lots of TV shows that are using real AI non-human backgrounds, and they look perfect.
I love that you said real AI non-humans.
Real AI non-humans. Don't think the AI is fake. It's not.
By the way, I also love, like, imagine if you had like the audience shot at like the Emmys and like it just glitches for a second and half the automatic seat fillers like disappears. You're like, fuck, that place is empty. Like nobody's going to that anymore. Ever since Ricky stopped hosting the Golden Globes, nobody goes. As it turns out, the last time SAG and the WGA went on strike together was 63 years ago.
What difference does it make if they go on strike together? Because once you're not able to have writers, what are you shooting?
Well, you could be shooting shit that was already written.
Okay, but you run out of that really fast.
Well, I understand. I feel like you need these two parts to go. Like it's like Voltron. Like you need all the Power Rangers. You can't you can't have no legs. Then you're just Private Dan. Like you need to have all the parts together. Sorry, Private Dan. But yeah, it's been 63 years. So
we don't want AIs writing scripts. Well, if AI, first of all, you don't have a problem because AIs can't write scripts. They don't write.
Yet.
I have yet to see an AI who can actually write a joke that's funny. I know there are other people who disagree with me. I have yet to see it. And I've looked at a lot of AI. I've yet to see an AI who can come up with an original story.
Okay.
There's no creativity in AIs. They're great at doing things. Real estate copy, I always use as an example. Things where you expect them to flow as they would flow. They have no ability to create things that are something you haven't seen before, which is what you're going to do in a script mostly. So ignore for a second that AI can't write a script.
Okay.
The minute AI could write a script, if AI actually could write good scripts, it doesn't matter that you would go on strike about this. It doesn't matter that you would have it in your agreement the Producers Guild couldn't use them because some other schmo is going to make a movie that is outside of the guild, and if the story's great, the story's great, and the movie's going to be fun, and people are going to go see it, and that's the end of that. Because now a whole another group of people will be able to make movies.
Well, then you get Iowawa.
I don't know what that is.
It's the AI Writers Guild. All the AIs get together and they have their own guild.
And they say,
people.
no films
humans
written by humans.
No humans at all. We all need AI directors and Christopher Nolan. That's it. I read a little bit of this article.
One where Christopher Nolan says Oppenheimer should be a cautionary tale about AI.
He was more, I think, alluding to like the launch of like nuclear weapons and those being controlled by artificial intelligence and not being a human behind it.
I don't think we're going to allow nuclear weapons to be launched by AI anytime soon. We don't even let them be launched by procedural coding.
Sure.
We literally literally have a human
There's meat.
in between. There's meat in between to stop you from pushing that
There's some
button.
crazy stories around this that we should highlight at some point on this show. Like, for example, my understanding during the Cuban Missile Crisis is that Russian soldiers had direct orders that if they were pressed by U.S. naval forces, U.S. military forces, to just launch.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, that's fucking dumb. And they didn't follow their orders and didn't do it.
Beautiful.
Because they were just like, well, you know how this all ends. You could teach an AI that, and AI could also just be like, yeah, I'm just going to ignore that.
But the AI can also go off.
Matthew Broderick should star in a movie about this.
That would be great.
That would be wonderful.
That wasn't AI.
No, it was a Whopper.
Like a burger?
The War Operations, WOPR. Yeah, Whopper with cheese.
You have a good memory.
Well, I love that movie. That was like one of the defining movies of my childhood.
Shall we play a game?
Would you like to play a game? No, I use the line from that all the time. The only way to win is not to play.
Engagement on Instagram Threads. Are you on Instagram Threads?
I am on Instagram Threads. I think I'm an influencer on Instagram Threads.
You're an influencer?
Hey, in the land of the blind, man, the one eye is king.
Instagram's engagement has on Threads has cratered.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they had like their big rollout party last week.
Gone from 20 minutes to 8 minutes.
All right.
All they have to do is dial up the anger level and put things on there that make you more agitated, and they bring that right up. I mean, literally, that's how it works on Facebook. You literally could dial it right up.
Yeah, just set it to 11.
Always 11.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna remain hopelessly optimistic that they're gonna try to win on features, and because they're supporting ActivityPub, they're gonna make the content hopefully open.
Haven't seen them do that yet.
Well, they're not. I mean,
I know they said they would.
It's super feature light. It's also been like 2 weeks.
But now's the time. If you're gonna switch to ActivityPub, do it now before you get too far out.
You launched this last week and promised a bunch of shit. It's been 10
Where
days.
is it? Where is it?
I want
Come
it right
on.
now. It's just software. What's the problem?
It is just software. I don't know what the problem is.
I'm impressed that they were able to take that kind of onboarding and not fall over. They seem to be doing
They know how to do.
They got the best SRE team in the fucking world.
There are many things where Zuck will trip over himself left and right, like doing anything human. But as far as standing up one of these kind of services and social media generally, he's really good at this.
Sure.
Meanwhile, Elon Musk says Twitter's ad revenue has dropped by 50%.
Oh, I wonder why.
Shocking, isn't it?
Weird. Just fire all the way down. Just fix this problem with costs.
If you just cut more, that
more.
would
That's
be
the
the
problem.
answer.
Yeah.
That's always the answer.
That's the best way to grow is to cut.
It's the old business axiom. Cut your way to growth.
Cut your way to growth. Exactly. This should be filed in the big surprise category.
I think it's over.
I know you think it's over, and then I keep going,
I think it's over.
Slow death. But then I look at some of the numbers they've talked about, and I'm like, wait a minute, how is this thing, like, it's just dead man's walking?
Yeah.
So then the context of what's happening here starts to make more sense. Like, if you are this close to the end, right, and you're running out of life support options.
Right. There was literally 2 months where they were pulling in $7.6 million a month. That's it.
Which is crazy, because they financed like 10 plus of this thing. So you've got to make a fucking interest payment just to keep the lights going of $1.5 billion.
He doesn't pay his bills, so
That's
it's a lot easier. It's much easier.
I never thought about it that way. That's actually a better way to go, is just get those big payments and then just don't make them. By the way, so you're sitting on whatever, $10 billion of debt of this thing. What the fuck do you seize? What's your collateral? Did he post anything? Do you know? Did he post Tesla stock?
I would imagine
something.
For the bank debt he did.
Right?
Yes.
So there's something
for
there.
Other debt. No.
God,
I mean, if there's individual
this is
shareholders.
like the Berlin Wall coming down, right? Everyone's just going to get a piece and bring it home. It's just going to all just.
It's fascinating to watch from a distance.
I don't know. I kind of want to like put on a hard hat and get close.
Do you?
You kind of. Like, it's interesting. I'm very fascinated to see how this thing's going to come apart. Like I don't know how it can. I also think it's just generally speaking crazy that like the EU is like, hey, it's kind of important, the data and privacy of our users. In the US, we're just like,
Part of the problem part of what the EU wants is they don't want the data from EU citizens coming back to the US.
Yeah.
And that's essentially the same thing we're asking for from TikTok.
Sure.
We don't want our data going off of our shores. Yeah. Sure. So same sort of thing. So it's understandable that the EU would want that. Anyway, Elon's got a service that's deflating quickly. Although he claims all the advertisers are coming back, or at least say they're coming back.
You know what is another great idea when your revenue is way down is to pay out a big portion of that to the people on your platform. Get rid of even more of that money.
I think it's a desperation move.
When you put it all together, because I really think they financed like $10 or $11 billion of that thing. Wow. Some massive number.
Russia has banned Apple devices for state officials.
Because they don't have Tetris.
They are afraid that Apple is allowing or assisting in spying operation by U.S. intelligence agencies.
Probably.
I think it's probably true. I think they're probably not wrong.
Yeah.
And by the way, if they switch switched all to Android phones, they're going to have the same problem because Google has to comply with U.S. laws. They don't have much choice.
Guys, you're Warfront broadcasting clear text. I don't think Apple phones is your biggest problem.
It's not your biggest worry.
I think in the order of technology problems, you might want to start somewhere around the clear text broadcast.
This was also a story that was now last week, but we didn't talk about it, which was Meta was buying tax data from online tax services.
Oh, wow.
There were tons of services.
The US?
Yes, there were tons of services. You could go online onto their little website and you could do your taxes and submit your taxes on for free.
For free.
Right?
Of course it's free.
They were selling that data.
You are the product.
Yes. They were selling that data to Meta.
What does Meta do with that?
They bundle it with the rest of their information. So when they want to sell it to advertisers or whomever, show me everybody who makes $200,000 or more, and then I can sell them my Mercedes-Benz or whatever it is that I want to advertise to.
Air fryers. It's all air fryers.
Ford has dropped the F-150 Lightning prices by up to $10,000.
Yeah, I heard about this.
These are really cool trucks, and they are dropping them down almost to the price that they said they were going to sell them for originally.
Almost the original price?
Almost fulfilling what they said they would do originally.
Yes, and that car industry slowing down a little bit.
But generally and broadly, electric car prices are descending. Tesla has lowered prices probably 5 times in the last 12 months.
That's crazy. That's a lot of times.
That is what is happening with electric car prices. Well, we're going to talk about this in just a little bit, but I think that's pretty impressive.
That's cool.
Part of it is just because they are able to deliver more trucks than they were expecting that they would be able to.
That's good.
The F-150 Lightning owners will be able to top up their vehicle's battery at more than 12,000 Tesla supercharged across the U.S. and Canada.
That's cool. I don't own one. I haven't owned one.
It's a good-looking truck.
I'm impressed. It's one of the more impressive EVs I've been in.
And the other fun thing you can do with it is
charge your Tesla.
You can charge your other cars because the battery is so big.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Okay, enough with the headlines. Up next, CJ is going to talk about a top secret plan by the United States Air Force to detonate a nuclear bomb.
Well, they did it a couple times. It wasn't so top secret. They kind of let the world know.
By the time we're talking about it on the podcast, that whole top secret thing is out the window.
Yeah, by the way, if we're breaking the news on this, something really bad has happened in the chain of custody everywhere. All right.
Let's go. Tell me all about it.
Hit the button. So last week, I think was a lot of fun for both of us, right?
Oh, super fun.
And based on the feedback that I've heard, our listeners seem to have enjoyed it. I mean, what is not to love about the James Webb Space Telescope? Yeah. And there's even more news. There's even more news on it this week, which is pretty nuts.
But there's just going to be a flow. We're 10 minutes into this thing, and the amount of interesting stuff coming out of it.
Yeah. And you're like, guys, settle down. You got 20 years of this. And they're like, this is literally the data is going to just keep coming.
It's incredible.
So I find the science that Webb is delivering to be like kind of unthinkable, right? Like almost unbelievable, right? Like the ability to see back to the dawn of the universe to me is just mind-boggling. So I wanted to keep with this hard to believe it in space theme, and then more importantly, not include AI because I feel like it's been a nice break from that.
Sure.
And then seeing that it's National Moon Day, I thought it'd be a good time to talk about Leonard Rifle.
What day would be better to talk about Leonard Rifle than National Moon Day?
Right? Now, this is a man that I presume really hated the moon.
Is that right?
I don't know. Are you familiar with Mr. Rifle?
No, I was actually being silly when I said that.
Do you know anything
I have no idea.
done?
I have no idea who Mr. Rifle is.
I'll tell you a little bit about him. Rifle was born in Chicago in 1927. His father was a silversmith credited with inventing a slide saxophone.
Oh, cool.
Whatever happened to the slide saxophone?
Like a trombone, right? Only a saxophone. That's awesome.
It's got more valves on it. I don't know. His mother was a district superintendent in the Chicago public school system. He earned a bachelor's and master's degree as well as a doctorate in electrical engineering from the Illinois Institute of Technology, or I think they just called it IT, between 1947 and 1953. I don't know. I presume they called it IT. No angry letters. He began his career at the University of Chicago's Institute for Nuclear Studies.
Okay.
He helped a guy by the name of Enrico Fermi construct a 450-inch cyclotron.
What's a cyclotron?
Cyclotrons was sort of our first step forward in smashing stuff together, accelerating particles.
Gotcha.
So instead of having a linear accelerator, which is all we had at the time, where you would only have a particle cross the accelerated field once, and a cyclotron, there would be like a spiral, so it could cross multiple times, like the particle would follow a spiral.
Cyclotron to me sounds like something I might use at SoulCycle.
It's something that I would see at a carnival that I wouldn't want my kids to go on.
Right.
Like, you're definitely going to throw up if you go on the cyclotron.
Get on it.
So Rifle also collaborated with German scientists that were recruited in America as part of the Operation Paperclip.
Which was what?
We basically took all the German engineers after the war and brought them back, whether they wanted or not, to the U.S. to be employed by the U.S. government. It was basically
always a good idea.
Yeah, always a good idea to
just commandeer the smart people, bring them back.
And just drag them all back here.
But
whether they want
but
to
we
or
should
not.
we should do it with incentives now.
You would hope.
Really the way you want to do that is
More carrot, less stick.
yes,
So
especially with smart people because
you
they
would
can
think.
bite back.
Totally. Rifle was involved in several positions in NASA's Apollo program.
Mm-hmm.
He went from being a consultant on the possibility of life on the moon to become the deputy director of the project, and was in this role from like 65 to 69.
The good years.
Those were definitely the good years. He won a Peabody in 1968 for his work on the radio program The World Tomorrow.
Is that a soap opera?
That's
the
a great
World
name.
Tomorrow.
As the world tomorrow turns. His experience with broadcasting led him to invent the telestrator as a visual aid for his programming. He first used the telestrator as part of a backyard safari program before convincing the WBBM TV weatherman John Coughlin to use it as part of his forecast.
I was gonna just say to you, can you explain briefly what a telestrator is for people who don't know?
So it's like what you see when you watch American football and they draw
Yes.
on the screen, right? And it actually went from being used by the weatherman to the sports anchor Johnny Morris, which started using it for sports broadcasting. So this guy invented the telestrator,
It's
right?
used
Which you
to
still
this
see
day.
used to this day.
Right.
Yeah, super cool. He held over 50 different patents for his inventions, right? This guy was pretty prolific. So all those achievements to me are super interesting. None of them are what I want to talk about today. What I want to talk
well,
about
I'm glad you brought him up.
good. I want to talk about Project A119.
Oh, because last we were going to talk about A118, but now that you mention it, let's go with A119. Yeah.
Also known as A Study of Lunar Research Flights Volume 1.
Ooh, Volume 1.
Volume 1. You familiar with this? You
No.
seem to know a lot about
Absolutely
it. No?
not.
Just fake it until you make it?
Not even.
So this was a top...
There is not one listener.
I'd be shocked if you
There is
were.
not one
Nobody
listener who
knows.
thinks I have any idea what you're talking about.
No, there's probably one. There's probably one that doesn't know you.
No.
It's like, oh, he seems to know. No. This was a top secret plan developed in 1958 by the U.S. Air Force. The aim of the project was simple: to detonate a hydrogen bomb on the moon.
Always a good idea.
Right?
What did he have against the moon?
Well, we were out of spaces here to blow up
detonate bombs,
so
sure.
we decided the moon would be a good place to go. Let's talk a little bit about what this was before we talk about the why.
Okay.
Hydrogen bombs were vastly more destructive than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima in 1945,
Okay.
and the latest in nuclear weapon design at the time.
Now, why are they more destructive?
They give a much bigger yield.
And they don't destroy the buildings. They only destroy the living creatures.
The people, right? It's
yeah.
more of a
Well,
heat.
unless you're really close to the ground zero. But
Sure.
Yeah.
So they asked to fast track the project by senior officials in the Air Force. So Rifle produced many reports between May of 58 and January 59 on the feasibility of this plan.
That's why kids typing is dangerous.
Typing is totally dangerous. You don't want to type.
You would convince people of things you probably shouldn't.
Sure. And then you can make reports and they'll believe
The
it.
pen is mightier than the sword. It really, really actually is.
So the Air Force quickly vetoed the idea of using the hydrogen bomb due to the weight.
Thank goodness.
Right?
Oh, due to the weight. That's why.
wait.
Due to the weight.
Hold on. Yeah, we're not done. Don't get ahead of yourself. Because they said it would be too heavy to be propelled by the missile, which would have been
But other
used.
than that, let's just get right to it.
So they decided to use a W-25, which was a small, lightweight warhead with a relatively low 1.7 kiloton yield. By contrast, the little boy bomb dropped on the Japanese city of Hiroshima in 45 had a yield of 13 to 18 kilotons. You're talking about 1/10 of Hiroshima,
Sure.
give or take. The plan was they'd put the W-25 warhead on a rocket, shot towards the shadowed side of the moon, where it would detonate on impact. The dust cloud that was kicked up from the resulting explosion would be lit by the sun and therefore visible from Earth.
Yeah.
So according to Rifle,
Also, you might screw up the moon's orbit.
nah, probably not. Probably not with a blast this small.
Okay, but I don't want probably used when it comes to destroying
To
the
the
moon's
moon?
orbit, because that's
the
kind
moon.
of important to
So
us.
according to Rifle, the Air Force progress in the development of intercontinental ballistic missiles would have made such a launch feasible by 1959. So
Wow.
this could have happened. Now, the question you brought up is a good question. Why? What could you possibly imagine would be our reasoning for doing this? Why would we want to?
To launch a nuclear weapon at the moon?
At the moon.
We're just pissed off at those Moonians. They're not even Martians. Whatever they
Moonians.
call the people who live on the moon.
Yep.
Obviously, the only reason you want to do that in 1959 is you want to show a force.
Show of force, right?
Yeah.
So there was this very thin veil of there's some rudimentary scientific questions about the moon that we could answer by trying to blow a chunk of it up. But
It's a
really,
horrible idea.
yeah, by blowing it up specifically on the Terminator line, right, which is that line between the light side and the dark side of
yeah.
the moon, this flash would be visible to anybody on Earth,
Right.
particularly.
This is monkey chest thumping.
Yes, exactly.
And
Particularly
nothing more.
anybody in the Kremlin. So you'd want them to see this, and I'm pretty sure if they were to do this, they'd want to make sure that when it hit, the moon
could
was
see it.
pointed at Russia, so
Right.
that they could see this and be like, "Oh, you guys are doing some shit." So some background on this that I thought was important, and the BBC gave a great sort of concise history on this. And in the 50s, it really didn't look like America was winning the Cold War, right?
Oh, yeah, correct.
Popular opinion was in the U.S. was that the Soviet Union was ahead in its nuclear arsenal, particularly in the
They were
development-
launching dogs into space
Well, yeah. So
with no way to get them back.
Yeah. So particularly in development and number of nuclear bombs. So we had this bomber gap, and then in nuclear missiles, the missile gap. Those are the two big ones that we had. In 1952, the U.S. had exploded the first hydrogen bomb. 3 years later, the Soviets shocked Washington by doing the same. Right? In 1957, they went one better, stealing a lead in the space race with the launch of Sputnik 1, which was the first artificial satellite in orbit around the world. It didn't help that Sputnik was launched on top of a Soviet intercontinental ballistic missile, right, an ICBM, even though it was a slightly modified one. But the U.S.'s own attempt to launch an artificial moon ended in a huge fiery explosion.
An artificial moon?
Yeah, a satellite.
Oh,
right, like anything you put up. The failed launch of the Vanguard Test Vehicle 3 was commonly referred to at the time as Flopnik and Kaputnik.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Which I thought was comedy.
Kaputnik I've heard. I've never heard
Flopnik. Yeah, Flopnik I thought was great. As it turns out, by the way, I thought this was an interesting aside. The Vanguard satellite that was on top of Flopnik, the Vanguard satellite was thrown free of the explosion and recovered. But because of the damage, it could not be repaired for another launch attempt. It's currently on display at the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum in D.C., which I think we need a nonsense on-location recording field trip.
We might need a field trip,
right?
yeah.
So that's pretty cool. It's like literally the first thing we tried to put, not the first thing, but the first thing that we believe we're going to make it into space to orbit.
Sure.
And it's just sitting in the Smithsonian, which is pretty incredible. Anyway.
It's a testament to our failures.
Well, and our tenacity too, right? Like our tenacity.
Because eventually we got there.
Doing it. Yeah, because we got there. Vanguard failed. We were behind in the U.S. Fortunately, the project was never carried out, right? This Project A119.
Oh my goodness, fortunately. That's crazy.
So Air Force, quote, Air Force officials decided its risks outweighed its benefits.
Boy.
Good job, guys. And they also determined that a moon landing would...
Let's make the moon toxic for another 50 years or 100 years or whatever.
But they believed that a moon landing would undoubtedly be a more popular achievement in the eyes of the American and international public alike.
Oh, for sure, especially if you're able to bring the people back.
Yeah. But as you already highlighted, the loss of a pristine lunar environment was way less of a worry to the U.S. Air Force, right? Despite the scientists' concerns.
Absolutely crazy.
One of the fears was that if executed, the plan might have led to a potential militarization of space, which I don't really think you need the word potential in there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Although militarizing space is super expensive.
Sure.
It's much easier to militarize like a bridge.
Sure. Yeah. They're closer.
Yeah. And they're more useful.
An identical project by the Soviet Union, called Project E4, also never came to fruition. E4 was the fourth in a series of proposals that the Soviets started in January 1958, so the exact same time. Project E1 entailed plans to reach the moon. Projects E2 and E3 involved sending a probe around the far side of the moon to take some photos. And then the final stage of the project, E4, was to be a nuclear strike on the moon as a display of force.
Oh my God.
As with the American plan, the E series of projects was canceled while still in its planning stages due to concerns regarding the safety and reliability of the launch vehicle, fears of the warhead falling back on Soviet territory, and the potential for international incident.
How do we descend from these people?
Well, look, man, I mean, you had emerging technology and you had this race between two superpowers. I kind of get like you're at least going to postulate these things. I get that they're talking about it. I'm glad smarter decisions.
Cooler heads prevailed.
Cooler heads prevailed. Alex Wellerstein, a historian of science and nuclear technology, said, quote, Project A119 was one of several ideas that were floated for an exciting response to Sputnik that including shooting down Sputnik, which feels very spiteful. They refer to them as stunts designed to impress people. The signing of I
don't know, really, if you shoot down Sputnik, that's going to impress someone? That just sounds like you're a bully.
It does. It totally sounds like you're a bully,
right? It's a cool science project.
Sure.
Let it go, just because you didn't come up with it.
Exactly. Right. It's not mine, so I'm going to shoot it down. Right. Fortunately, you had the signing of the Partial Nuclear Test Ban Treaty in 1963 and the Outer Space Treaty in 1967, which prevented future investigation of the concept of detonating a nuclear device on the moon. But by that time, both the U.S. and the Soviets had already performed several high-altitude nuclear explosions.
Right.
We sort of like got out of that noise by the end of the 60s. So I think the story is pretty nuts, right?
Yeah,
the fact that we
sure.
tried to blow up the moon. What's kind of more nuts is how we found out about this. And this was the part of the story that actually got me to want to make it a segment. I think you're going to love this.
Okay.
Even to this day.
That had to be top secret information for decades.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But listen to how it came out. So most of the details of Project A119 still to this day are shrouded in mystery. Many of the details have been destroyed.
Well, for good reason. I mean, if I had come up with that plan, I'd want those details destroyed
you'd also
too.
shred it.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. You may not have written it down. You may have just said, you know what, I'm going to just go ahead and skip this thought and pretend that it's a bad dream. Here's how we ultimately found out about it. One scientist that helped enable this horrific scheme was future visionary Carl Sagan.
Oh, wow.
The existence of this project was only discovered in the mid-90s by a guy named Key Davidson while researching the life of Sagan for a biography. Sagan had mentioned Project A119 on an application for an academic scholarship at the Miller Institute at UC Berkeley in 1959. So in the application, Sagan gave details of the project research, which Davidson felt constituted a violation of national security.
Sure. Sagan
just happened to write down in 1959 that he worked on this thing nobody had ever heard of. Nobody saw it for 40 years until this guy researching Sagan's
said,
life.
What is this? And
he was like, what is this
top secret information you're divulging here?
The resulting biography, Carl Sagan, A Life, was published in 1999. Shortly after, a review published in Nature highlighted the discovery of the leaked information.
Nature magazine.
Nature magazine, yeah. That led Reifel to break his anonymity and write a letter to the journal confirming that a young Carl Sagan was part of the team responsible for predicting the effects of a nuclear explosion in a vacuum in low gravity and evaluating the scientific value of the project. Reifel at the time believed that Sagan's activity had been considered a breach of the confidentiality of the project. As a result of the publicity this correspondence created, a Freedom of Information request was lodged concerning Project A119. And it was only then that the, quote, A Study of Lunar Research Flights, Volume 1 was made public. 40 years
Does
after
that mean
its
there's a
inception.
Volume 2 that we're not seeing?
No, I think it's hysterical. This is, to me, is like History of the World Part 1. There was no, I know now there's a Part 2, but
Sure.
I do not believe there ever was another volume. We certainly don't know about it if it exists. This report was sort of released as part of the Freedom of Information request, but the other volumes and other documentation revealed other reports were destroyed in the 1980s by the Illinois Institute of Technology. So they are probably gone forever.
Yeah. And that ought to be illegal.
And despite Reifel's revelations, the U.S. government has never officially acknowledged its involvement in the study.
Right.
So it's just been like this thing that's out there. David Lowery, a nuclear historian.
Every top secret bit of information that we classify as top secret ought to have a date and time stamp on it for when it gets released.
Sort of like an NDA expiration.
Because you're paying for it. You, the taxpayer, are paying for it. You deserve to know what people were spending your money on, doing in your name.
Yep, totally. Like at the end of the day, it's a good thing that Project A119 and E4 didn't go forward.
Yeah, sure.
Right. David Lowery, a nuclear historian from the UK, has called the project's proposals, quote, obscene, adding, had they gone ahead, we could never have had the romantic image of Neil Armstrong taking one giant leap for mankind.
Well, he'd have taken a giant leap and he'd have gotten cancer.
Yeah. Well, it is up to debate how much radiation would have been on the moon still because the atmosphere is so thin.
Yeah.
So not much of it would have probably stayed. Like you probably would have had some unspent
just
uranium.
blown away.
Most of it probably would have been blown off the surface of the moon, which is kind of interesting. Either way, I still think the fact that not just the U.S., but the U.S. and the Soviets
both had the same idea and
right?
both seriously considered it.
And it also just goes to show you how, for as much as you think you've got a big, pardon the expression, Chinese firewall between these two superpowers, they had the idea at the same fucking time. That wasn't an accident.
And they both named them letters and numbers. I mean, what a lame system.
There must have been an inside job. They used letters and numbers
we recognize. They both used letters and numbers. Why wouldn't you, have a secret name or your secret? It's,
Project Moonblow.
Project Jellyfish. Totally. Give it something
that's before they had the good category cube to name the things. They also, interesting, both projects targeted the same moon.
Unlike Saturn, we don't have 146 to choose from.
Maybe all the other moons are just black and we can't see them.
Maybe.
Anyway, I thought this was fascinating. The fact that, again, both these superpowers were thinking that a good way to impress the other guy was to put a nuclear bomb on the moon.
I don't think you'd be impressed if someone did that. You'd just think, wow, I inhabit the same planet as a schmuck.
Yeah, man. I think in that time, though, I don't think that would have been, there was this quote from a British newsreel that was talking about how that Vanguard failure was a big setback in the realm of prestige and propaganda. It was all prestige and propaganda then, right? I mean, that was
crazy.
Like the definition of the Cold War. So I got to believe them doing that, being like, haha, look, we blew up the fucking moon. What have you done?
It's apes thumping their chest.
Anyway, I thought this was fascinating. And because it's National Moon Day, what better day to talk about trying to blow up the moon?
Okay. Well, I'm glad we got that done.
And I'm pretty sure, assuming Elon listens to this show, that he will soon be trying to blow up the moon as well.
Elon could buy the moon and then it would go away.
Oh my God, I would love Elon buying the moon. Who are the shareholders in the moon? All right, up next, Jeff's going to talk about his experiences looking at the new electric cars.
I'm shocked that this is happening. In August, my kid is starting his senior year in high school.
That's crazy.
His junior year, he drove himself to and from school, which, made my heart hurt.
Sure.
That meant that 3 drivers had to make do with 2 cars.
Yeah.
A small aside to actually making my heart hurt was that there was limited vehicle access. And that's only because we would love for him to have a car, but he keeps going, no, I'm good. I'll just use one of yours.
Sure.
What he means by that is, I don't ever want to have to go to a gas station and put fuel in a car.
Totally.
I'm just going to take the one that has gas gas in it.
Absolutely.
Which is great for him.
Lovely.
And not as good for me.
Yep.
We talked about Ford dropping the price of the F-150 Lightning by up to $10,000. Tesla's been dropping prices repeatedly all year.
Yep.
Electric cars keep getting cheaper, so
Yep.
it has come to my attention that electric car may be in my future. I don't know.
Sure.
The first Tesla Roadster went on sale in 2008. Can you believe that? 15 years ago.
I can. I was actually at the launch event for the Tesla Roadster.
So there's been a lot of time for refinements and improvements.
Okay.
I want to state right up front so that no one thinks that I'm more or less into this than I am. I am not an enthusiast.
Yes, everyone listening to this show knows you are only an air fryer enthusiast.
I am not an enthusiast of electric cars, and I am not an enthusiast of cars generally. I like a car that gets me reliably from point A to point B. That's what I'm looking for.
You want transportation.
I want transportation.
Yeah.
I do not want to be. I have a friend who has a Bentley, and you get in this car, and it's literally like you're driving a living room.
Sure.
There's
It's a
nothing.
couch.
There's
Yeah.
nothing pleasant about this experience. I do not know why someone thinks this is a fun thing.
Sure. Which, by the way, I think most of our listeners have figured this out. I'm the exact opposite. I am what is described as a, quote, car guy.
Oh, 100%,
So we
which
have
is
two reviews.
why it's interesting that I'm doing this segment and not you.
Yeah.
By the way, when we started doing this podcast,
Apparently, you're not a moon guy. When you do the moon segment.
I wasn't going to blow
Are
it
you
up with a
pro-moon?
nuclear weapon.
Okay, maybe I'm anti-moon at the end of the day. Sorry.
When we started this podcast, it sort of came out of conversations we had about various things, and it was really nice for me, at least, that I could always go and bounce ideas off of you and thoughts. And so when it came time to start looking at electric cars, I thought, well, who better to ask questions of than you? Of all the car people I know, you are deep into the weeds. I'm not an enthusiast. I don't need to have a fancy car. The greatest sin in my house growing up was being a show-off.
Sure.
So I'm not looking to drive a living room. I'm not looking to drive a fancy sports car or whatever.
Fair.
I want reliable transportation. I want the air conditioning to work. I live in Southern California. Pretty much beyond that, everything's a bonus.
Do you want the doors to open when you're underwater?
That's why Tesla is not on my list.
Okay. Just want to make sure it's somewhere.
I mean,
in
and
your
for
lineup.
other reasons as well.
Sure.
But you are nailing something. The Teslas have a lot of problems, and they don't make my cut. Now, someday they may when they fix those things. But for now, in the U.S. right now, there are more than 3 million EVs on the road. That sounds like a big number. It's actually a tiny number relative to how many vehicles are on the road. But it's
How many vehicles are on the road?
Impressive. Oh, 290.5 million, something like that.
And I own half the other 1 million.
You do.
Most of those ICE vehicles are
They're
actually
at your
mine.
house.
Turns out I'm the fucking problem, aren't I?
You're the one who has to wash them all.
That's why the Green Deal's literally targeting me. I keep throwing that mail out, but it just comes right to me like, can you please get rid of some of your shit? I understand now.
There are over 130,000 public chargers, and they are increasing at a rate of approximately 60% per year.
I mean, if they continue to increase at that rate, that is literally an exponential increase. That's a lot.
I thought, wow, I should get an electric car that has one of those Tesla connections because there sure seem to be a lot of those, and a lot of car companies are adopting those.
Yep.
It turns out in doing my research for my surrounding 30, 40 miles, if I would ever need one, they are a fraction of the charges compared to the other kind. There are two kinds of chargers, basically. There's a third kind that almost no one uses. But of the two main chargers, the Tesla is a distant second.
So I am no expert on the charging infrastructure at all, but it seems like
there's an app for it. You literally could be an expert in 2 seconds.
Yeah, like ChargePoint or whatever.
Right.
I believe that the Tesla standard is the one that's going to make it, though. You've got so many other manufacturers glomming on.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter. It's like just fucking pick one. I've looked at the specs.
I'll tell you why it does matter. One's an open standard that nobody has to pay royalty to. As a practical matter, you can get adapters that let anything connect to anything.
But we need just one.
Ideally, yes, but there are so many cars who are using the other charger that it would require changing an enormous amount to move them all over.
Well, you got to change
Tesla
something.
standard.
I mean, or intercompatibility plug.
Right. All you need is that adapter. I mean, literally, it's just moving 2 wires from two different, slightly different positions. Everything else is mostly the same.
But here's why I think it's not going to matter to you. You buy an electric car, you're going to be charging at your house 99.9% of the time.
Right. Not to get ahead of ourselves, but if you own a grocery store, think of your customer acquisition and retention costs.
Okay.
You're going to put DC fast chargers all over your parking lot. It's an outlet.
Yeah.
You know how complicated installing a giant tank underground that you have to refill every week with pumps everywhere to make a gas station? This is a little wire. Power is cheap.
Yep.
And now I'm shopping at your store.
Yeah.
As of July 2023, there are some 56 all-electric vehicles. They call those BEVs.
BEVs.
They offer ranges such as the Audi e-tron of 222 miles all the way up to the Mercedes-Benz EQS 350 miles. That's a lot of miles.
For most people.
There are no oil changes, no transmission fluids. EVs can be faster and accelerate more aggressively than their gas counterpoints. They can be smoother on the road and generally more refined.
You still have to change your blinker fluid. It used to be the BMWs that never had their blinker fluid changed because the blinkers would never work.
No, sure.
Turns out it's the Teslas now, too. I see a lot of Teslas that must have bad blinker fluid because they just don't signal.
I've been looking at cars on the less expensive side, cars like the Hyundai Ioniq 5N and the Kia EV6, which start with a 220-mile battery pack, but have an option for a 300-mile battery pack. I saw a Mustang SUV parked on the side of the road yesterday. Looked great. They also have an option for a 300-mile battery pack, which I'm not really sure I have any need for. I'm not going to be taking any long trips in an EV. This is literally, my son's school is 5 miles away.
The one thing I wonder, and I don't know this to be factual, but I make an assumption, if you get the bigger battery pack, I'm assuming it means less cycles, which means you would get longer out of the battery pack.
Well, that's very true. I mean, that's true of any...
So not just range. If you want to keep the thing for a long period of time.
I do not.
Oh. Well,
it's a piece of technology.
Get the smallest one you can
It's going to go obsolete very quickly, which is partially why...
Measured in months.
Right, which is partially why you might want to lease it instead of buying it.
Totally.
Before anyone throws rocks and bottles at me, let me just explain. I know there are even less expensive EVs. That's just the range where I'm looking at. Where it's like, it looks reliable, the range is good, and the inside isn't horrible, looks very comfortable, and it doesn't look like I'm trying to show off.
Yeah, sure. I don't know, maybe 10-ish years ago, I was sitting in the paddock at race cars as a hobby, and we were just shooting the shit, drinking beers, and I said, you know, you realize in like 10, 15, 20 years from now, these are all electric vehicles.
Oh, yeah.
Like, especially in racing.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. And I'm like, no, there's going to be dinosaurs like us still doing this shit. We're going to be the weird guys.
Yeah.
Because these are so much
especially
better fit.
for races with lots of curves, because accelerating is so much faster on an EV.
I mean, we do endurance racing, so you're still going to have all sorts of challenges with like, I don't think anyone's going to want to show up with 5,000 pounds of battery packs.
Right, that'll come later. You'll find a way to make that battery clip in and out really quickly.
I'll just put in like 12 farad worth of capacitors.
Sure. Let's talk about charges for a second, specifically the time to charge from 10% to 80%, which is what you want to do in an electric car, especially if you're doing quick charging. It can take as little as 18 minutes now to fully charge an Ioniq 5 using DC fast charging. 18 minutes.
That's great.
That's plenty of time to go have, take a pee break, maybe go buy a snack. And by then your car is good to go. You're at 80% ready to go, which is as high as you want to charge it. It can take about 6 hours to fully charge the Ioniq 5 using level 2 charging. Level 2 charging is when you plug into that 240 outlet, that dryer outlet that you have.
The one that looks scary.
Yeah. Or if you have like a huge freezer, it might take a 240 outlet.
Or if you're at my house, I have one in the garage for the welder.
Exactly.
You know, as one does.
I have one in the garage for somebody obviously had a big freezer.
Oh yeah. Okay.
The problem is it's not fault protected, so I would be afraid to use it for anything like and also for EV charging. I want a industrial outlet. I don't want a consumer grade outlet. I don't want something that somebody bought at Home Depot. Give me the good one that's not going to melt.
Yeah.
It can take up to 24 hours to charge the Ioniq 5 using level 1 charging. That is charging from a standard household outlet.
120 volts.
24 hours to charge your car. That sounds really slow.
No, it doesn't. Not for most people. I think that's just fine. With no modification, run an extension cord.
Many EVs now use a bidirectional charger, allowing you to use the car's battery to power your home or other devices. If you lose power in your house, you can literally light up things from your house using your car.
I mean, that is literally the day that I lose in my neighborhood. When like the power goes out and all my neighbors with their shitty little Teslas are powering their house, and there's just me with like all my diesel shit and all my gas shit. I'm just
almost every EV does that now.
That's pretty cool.
Really
I gotta
cool.
admit, that's pretty cool.
An L1 charger gives you between 2 and 5 miles of charge per hour, depending upon how many amps you have coming out of your outlet, and also the efficiency of your car. Most cars in the class that I'm looking at, it literally gives you around 5 miles per hour of charge. I clock the average time my car spends in the garage each day, and it's on average over 12 hours a day. So roughly 60 miles of charging on the slowest charger mode, the L1.
Yeah, but you would never have an L1 in your garage.
Why is that?
Because you would absolutely invest in the L2, and if your garage already has power, and you've already told me it's got a high amp circuit, it'd be super cheap and easy to do.
My car would be full all the time on an L1 charger.
Yeah, to me, it's that one day. It's that one day where you're like running around doing something, and you're going to come home for 3 hours and then go back out to a thing.
I have 2 other cars. Okay. You know what else I have? I have a fast charger at the Beverly Hills Public Library.
You can go to.
Where I can charge the whole thing in 18 minutes.
I'd still install that. I like stuff. But then what happens with the next car you're going to buy? It's going to be electric.
It's probably going to be more efficient.
Well, you still have to charge it.
I mean, that's the direction they go, is more efficient, not less.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a topic we're probably going to end up revisiting a few times. We are out of time and we have to get out of here. But quickly before we go, have you seen or read anything good this last week?
Oh man, I've been on holiday in San Diego with my kids.
I heard you were on holiday.
I've watched like 9 episodes of Rumble and Crew.
What's that?
It's like a kid show with like these dogs that like build stuff. My kids love it. It is actually kind of cute. It's really cute.
I'm so in for that world.
So that when they get a little wound up, we'll turn it on for like half an hour, let them settle down.
Although I don't believe it for 1 second though. It does stretch credibility because my dog pretty much just naps.
No. Well, he's the napper dog.
He's not.
No, he's the foreman.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Barkley's the foreman. The other dogs do all the work. No, that's probably the best thing that I've seen. How about you?
I saw a movie called Blackberry.
Oh, this sounds
Have you
good.
seen this movie?
No, but I love the idea.
Yeah, it is gripping from the beginning to the end.
That's
The
awesome.
making of these devices.
This is about the phones, right?
Yes,
yeah,
and,
of
they,
course.
and they were little phones, and you
Yeah.
could send little
Yeah.
emails and things like that on them, and how they came to
Don't
be.
disparage the BlackBerry.
I wasn't disparaging.
You
Believe
said
me, I wasn't
you were
disparaging
trying
the
to disparage the BlackBerry.
They made up 40% of the cell phone market.
That's nuts.
And they are literally no longer
They
produced.
were like literally too big to fail. They owned the entire market.
They owned
There
the
was
market.
no way they were going to lose. Like they were the thing. Everybody had one. I had several Blackberries throughout my day.
Oh, yeah.
I had a RIM device before they were called Blackberries. The
BlackBerry.
device
Oh,
was still
sure.
called RIM. I had a RIM 970, and you were just like the coolest dork. If you had the little wheel on the side, you could read your emails.
Oh, yeah.
And then the iPhone came out, and even then, I fought. My first iPhone wasn't until the 4.
Yeah.
I fought for a long time.
That was my last iPhone. The,
I know.
the 4S
You
was
always
my
have to remind
last
that.
iPhone.
And I just was like, no, I like the BlackBerry, I like the keyboard. And then one day I was just like, I want to be able to take a picture. It looks like I didn't take it from a potato.
Yeah.
And then you switch over to the iPhone, and then you're like, all right, goodbye, BlackBerry.
You were pretty late in the game to switch
Super late.
over.
I was very
there.
late.
Yeah.
It coincided, by the way, with me flipping to the MacBook. My first MacBook was like 08.
Yeah.
I started my ecosystem with the MacBook, and then after like a year or two of that, I was like, all right. And then I got the iPhone. Most people were the other way, but I went backwards.
I highly recommend the movie. The end of the BlackBerry it's sort of a sad ending, except for there's one piece of information you get at the very end. It is absolutely delightful, and I won't spoil it for you. It's on Amazon Prime Video. It's
I
excellent.
will check that out. The irony of it being on Amazon Prime.
That's the episode.
Thanks for joining us for all this nonsense, a truly terrible podcast from The Awful Company. Visit us on the web at nonsense.productions. I'm CJ Little.
I'm Jeff Parker.
If you like this program, please follow, download, subscribe, and like it Apple, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or our favorite, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcast from.
Podcastindex.org. Special thanks to our floor director, Tara Chandler.
Thanks, Tara, and congratulations. We'll be here every Thursday morning for more nonsense. Please
Whoa,
join us.
what are we congratulating her for?
She's getting married.
Oh, I had no idea.
Well, look at her. Look how smiley she is in the control room.
Oh, congratulations, Tara.
We'll be here every Thursday morning for more nonsense. Join us. I don't think if they told everybody. That was just a week ago. They got to have told people. I'm not outing them, right?
Too late.